Tim, and I haven't had to travel far today to be here. It's a pleasure to be here. Great to see so many people here to talk about design, especially when the weather's like this. So props for that. That's me in a circle, taking a photo of myself, very designery. I'm the product design manager here in Copenhagen. I've been in Copenhagen for 6 years this June, and I've been with Zendesk for just about 18 months. I work primarily on the Guide product, and Guide is a smart self-service destination featuring knowledge-based articles, community forums, and a customer portal. I wanted to start with this slide. This slide is a slide that came from brand, and we don't always associate brand design and product design working together. At Zendesk we have a brand design team in San Francisco who work specifically on that stuff. They're awesome, and they create all of the brand work. And just recently we changed our sort of mission statement, our kind of strapline, to be the company your customers want you to be. And it used to be relationships are complicated. Right? It turned out that relationships are complicated was complicated, so they changed it to be the company your customers want you to be, which may well prove to be complicated, but right now it's good, and it works in the narrative of this story. I'll come back to this because it's important. I wanted to share this with you. So a couple of weeks ago I was walking down the street in Dublin. I work with the Dublin team as well, and I was walking past a lot of shops and kind of turned to my right, and I saw this BMX bike in the window, and it's basically a perfectly preserved Rally Burner bicycle, which is the exact BMX that I had when I was 10 years old. And I used to fall off this bike, ride this bike with my friends, make jumps at the bottom of the garden. I used to go on adventures, right? And for me, this is a perfect piece of product design. It's a perfect build. I think design can and should be an adventure when it's the requirement, and it can be something that's emotional. It can be something that gives you memory, makes you feel things. You don't always associate that with enterprise design, but it's possible. And experimental design. This was a piece of work that I spent a year and a half working on. This was a mobile social app that kind of founded the company, and we launched this product. And the idea here in terms of challenging the norm was that it was a messaging app without any pictures anywhere. So the idea was we take out that piece around all decisions are made on superficial decisions, how you look like is whether you engage with someone, etc., etc. I wanted to build something where all of that was taken away. So the format was these sort of small cards that were all very text-based, and it was about people having communication. And I'm fundamentally interested in communication, people using software, and how design and humans work together. But what does it look like here? This is our team now, pretty handsome bunch. And that's actually just on the third floor, which some of you may get to see later. And we work across a range of things. So we have 4 feature-facing teams here in Copenhagen, and we'll work with all of them at different times, typically over a quarter. It's the poltergeist. So we'll work with feature-facing teams over a quarter on P1s and P2s, priorities that design can get involved in. And we'll cover what I would call it a kind of a 360 approach to it. So we don't have a specific UX designer, we don't have a specific UI designer. We think of ourselves as product designer, and that involves many different disciplines. When I first joined, it always happens. So when I first joined the company, one of the first things I had to do was kind of get my head around what everything was all about. I mean, I came from a design world where I made all the design decisions. I knew how the users worked. I designed the product intrinsically, so the fabric of the decisions came from my brain. When you join a company like Zendesk, where there's a bigger universe and there's multi-product suites, I was a 2-man team. I went to a 2,000-man team. And I had to understand how the product worked. One of my first pieces of design work was designing a feature called user segments, which allowed for admins to create bunch and group users together, create a user segment, apply that user segment to a piece of content that would then act as a permission group. And I sort of approached this in this way. You know, I talked through the problem, I got to know my stakeholders, I got to know my product partners, I started off sketching and drawing things out. I upped the fidelity once I'd knocked some things over and made some decisions there. I did some internal testing, and then it was pretty much ready for EAP. This wasn't necessarily a piece of enterprise design, but this was kind of starting to get in the rhythm of how things work at a bigger company and the decisions that you have to make and the conversations that you have with customers. So I did that. It was good. And then it was a bit kind of like, we were like, what now? As a group, we were maturing as a department when I joined. We were 45 people in this building. We're now around 65. And obviously, you know, we're going up market. We're delivering software for enterprise customers now. And the challenges and some of the things that we're building for are getting more complex. So, you know, this is the old kind of adage of the hovering art director, where designers just kind of stare at a machine and some other people come and help them stare at the machine. Some people will say things, maybe someone comes up with an awesome idea, but it's not really the way to get things done. So I often get asked, how do we as designers come up with ideas? And I've pretty much got a perfect slide for it, if it works. Let's see what happens here. So this is how the Zendesk Creative Design Leadership team come up with creative ideas.
CrossFit team.
Yeah. So we just jump up and down, and then ideas fall out. You can see them. There's some good ones on the table there. She's writing them down. And this is really productive. He's eating crisps. I'm not interested. That's the VP, and that's the Chief Creative Officer. So that's how we come up with designs easy. No, we don't. And I still had that problem of what do we do next. So I pressed the clicker and nothing happened, is what I did next. Sorry about this. Yeah, what did we do next? We went and had conversations with users of the Guide product about how they use our product. When we design our things, we sometimes design in isolation. We think about our team, we think about our product, we think about our design. And what we really wanted to get to the heart of here was, how do our customers use Zendesk in a jobs to be done fashion? How do they use Zendesk as part of their working day? You could assume that it's just your thing that they use, but what we actually found out by research here was, you know, Zendesk is one piece of their working day. If they've got 5 or 10 tabs open on their machine, you know, maybe we're one of those tabs, but there are other tabs that are kind of empowering them to get the job done. And what we saw here was that there was a need for collaboration, communication, teamwork, and workflow. And it felt like, looking at this and having the conversations with our customers, this was a really big opportunity. You know, we could see that Jira was up there, Trello was being used, Excel, MS Word, Google Docs, obviously. So from this gave us really the starting point to, okay, like, what do we go after here? What's the problem we're trying to solve? How can we offer value to the customers? And we did a design sprint. Just show of hands, who in here has participated in a design sprint, done a design sprint? Yeah, pretty much everyone. You know, we literally threw the book at this, and it was, you know, we've done design thinking in Zendesk before, but this time we said, you know, we're really going to stick to the schedule, we're going to invest in it, and we're going to get other stakeholders in, and we're going to do this end to end, and we're going to take the learnings that we've got, and we're going to see, you know, we'll see what happens and trust the process. That was an important part of it. Trust the process, follow the day, stay calm. And this was the map that we decided on very much at the start of the session. So this was what we were working towards. We identified here that our main customers here were content managers and contributors. You know, we would think about them. The piece here was around creating content and managing content. And there was a goal here, a tangible long-term goal, which was buying the product. So this is a business goal. This is, it's not designing something for an award or designing something for a resume. We're designing something for a business outcome that keeps us in a job, lets us scale, lets us keep doing cool things, and lets us be the company that we want to be. So we have to keep that in mind. And this is a cat that looks happy, that is probably shareholders when our share price rockets. And this is how we did it. I mean, most of you have probably already seen this, but in the spirit of the event today, we flew in a designer from Dublin to give us a different perspective. We had engineering in the room, we had sales in the room, we had design in the room, we had product in the room. And it was really a truly collaborative effort on a piece of work that was called team publishing, which was this kind of publishing piece that had arrived through the research that people want to collaborate. So we used the team to try and solve this problem, see if we could design a product. That's where we ended at the end of day 3. We decided on a name at this point. The feature actually ended up being called Team Publishing. We had some kind of personas that had appeared, and we set out kind of building this with the idea of testing it with one of our customers, Trustpilot, who came in on the Friday, and we kind of had a session with them to get feedback on the prototype. This is what the prototype looked like. And this was built all using component UI. We have a pretty mature component library that our designers work with, so we can pretty quickly put together a piece of UI like this that tries out ideas that we can then put in front of the customer relatively inexpensively, but make the point and start the conversation. And in this instance, it was about, what about this idea of if an article just wasn't a published article? What if it was in a state? What if it was ready for review? What if it was approved? Or what if it was a draft? Then this idea here where you could potentially get a diff on the level of the article, so if somebody has made a change, you can at a glance here see the size of that change that's been made and potentially prioritize the list. So this was really just testing out what we thought we knew at that point with people that we thought might have a need to want to work with a tool like this. I need some volume here. What I want to show is a customer interview with Squarespace that we did. Let's see if this works. Okay. So she's saying here that she loves this. Claire at Squarespace works with a pretty mature content team, and they all trust each other and they're all optimistic. They all know their content, and Squarespace is quite a forward-thinking company. And we speak to Claire, and did speak to Claire quite a lot through this team publishing kind of process. And she actually used words in here like, assignment, team, ready for review, status, approval. And as we were showing her this piece of design that we come up with, she was almost taking us through and goes like, this is nearly it. This is this, if you just had this, what could do this, like this is it, you're very close. And I don't think I can stress enough the importance of the customer voice in the design that you're doing. We worked on a feature called Team Publishing. We used a team to get the job done, to get the design done. We used customer voice to help us in that last 20% when you're just not quite sure, or designers are cycling similar ideas, or the mindset is a certain way. So we really try wherever possible to have the customer voice influence the design, and then we'll take that away and distill it and help direct it. It was a really good interview. Trust me. And what else did that let us do? That also allowed us to identify our main personas for the guide product. So Lisa is our guide manager. She's the content manager. She knows what everything looks like. She publishes articles. She works with the business to make sure there are articles in the help center that allows customers to serve themselves. Mike is the trusty content writer that maybe hasn't got publishing permissions just yet, but he's her right-hand man. He can get the job done. And then what happened through the research was we discovered this character called Felix. And when we'd gone down to Site Improve, just down there, we met some customers and showed a similar demo there. And our customer at Site Improve talked passionately about one of the agents that works there called Felix. He's like super enthusiastic, he's like an API expert, and he always wants to write documentation. So we decided to sort of make Felix famous, and he is now kind of one of our pillars, one of our personas. And if you were to speak to mostly everyone here in the building, and you speak about those characters, mostly everyone in the building knows who those characters are, the jobs that they're trying to do, and the work that they do inside the product. And so what did it look like at the end? So just a little bit here about kind of a segue into design having a seat at the table. So from small post-it notes and design sessions and customer interviews, this was a piece of, this is the final design, other than that this reassigned piece doesn't come out of the screen, because that would be odd. But this was a piece of design that I was asked to produce for the Board of Directors update 2 weeks ago, maybe a bit more than 2 weeks ago, when we gave an announcement to the street about launching Guide Enterprise and the features that it came with. So this was, for me, proud of it, not just because it ended up there, but proud of the inputs, proud of the team effort, proud of building out a piece of design with the team that actually found its way like slap bang in the middle of the table that I think we talked about quite a bit. And then on the 4th of April, 3rd of April, we actually launched the Enterprise Content Management Platform as a Guide Enterprise, and the centerpiece of Guide Enterprise was team publishing. And our president of products, Mr. Adrian McDermott, actually talked about what this thing was. And I just felt super proud, really, of hearing the product being talked about and being there from the start. And first and foremost, having something that we're going to put out into the market that is going to be of value to customers, that the customers are going to care about, that they're going to use. And kind of goes back then to here, be the company your customers want you to be. In this instance, with the work that we did and the approach that we took, this feature and the Guide Enterprise product that we've just launched is actually the product that our customers wanted it to be, because they were the ones that told us what it was that they wanted us to build. Otherwise, we could have just ended up staring at screens and stood around looking at each other. So what's next for design here? We've just hired a new VP of design in San Francisco, Kim Lennox. Kim joins us. She was the director of design at LinkedIn. So she has experience with working with 200-person design teams, and she's bringing a lot of experience there, a lot of rigor, a lot of kind of great insight. And this was just a few weeks ago when we had an EMEA design sprint here in Design Summit here in Copenhagen. We're investing a lot in design management, really trying to get a bit more scientific around the culture of our teams and how they work, and designing better ways to empower the designers that work here so we clear the road and they have all the tools that they need to get the job done. And we're looking at computational design as well, so now we have more data coming in, deeper levels of data, more users, different workflows, different states. And you can try and put that together on a spreadsheet if you like, but one of the things that we'd like to do now is actually start using computational design as it develops a little bit more to give us the insights we need to go forth into the next chapter. And we're also hiring. A nice subtle stamp. So yeah, we've got an opening right now for a product designer and a senior product designer based here in Copenhagen, working on the Guide product with me and the team on this cool stuff. And you'll sometimes be in this room. So if you're interested, or someone that's interested, come and speak to me at the break, or just hit up Zendesk /jobs. And thank you very much.